thank you, and I can't tell you how thrilled I am to be here and have the opportunity to speak with you today. If I hadn't, it means I would have lost my primary. I can tell you, and I mean this wholeheartedly, there is nobody that is more appreciative and thankful for having the opportunity to be your nominee in this upcoming election. I had the same opportunity in 2016 and lost a heartbreaking race by 1%. The closest race any Republican had in the state of Nevada last election, which the entire ticket went to the Democrats. It was a disappointing loss, and normally you don't get a chance to make up for and have a second chance. This year we're going to have a chance to do it, and we're going to change those results. You know, some of the things that happened in the last election that hurt the campaign, I couldn't control. I believe that we had a decrease or there was a lack of enthusiasm on the down tickets for the Republican Party when several people didn't support candidate Trump at the time. I supported him throughout the election. But on the other hand, there's some things that I didn't do as a candidate that I wish I would have, and that we're going to this time. I've always been of the opinion that you never give up if you truly believe in something and if you really want something bad enough, as long as you have a chance for success. And I believe I do in this election. But you don't run again unless you figure out what were your mistakes the last time and how you're going to correct them and make them better. The biggest mistake we made in the last election was the Democrats spent their entire budget attacking me with these character assassination ads. Now, I don't know if you know this or not, but this is very, very important because this tells you how important this congressional race is across the country. In 2016, this was the most expensive congressional race in the entire country. The most expensive. $17.5 million was spent in this race. That's almost as much as Harry Reid's Senate race in 2010. And on the Democrat side, virtually every penny they had was spent attacking me, except for one ad that Jackie Rosen ran where she said she created apps before they were apps. I think she got that from Al Gore or something. So, look, we know that that's the tactic they're going to use in this election. The last election, they ran these ads, and I had my wife, my mother, my best friend. I even had the lady who bags the grocery plead with me. You got to respond to these ads. People are believing it, it's hurting you. And I would go back to my campaign, and I would say to them, we need to respond. We need to run a commercial respond. And both times I did my campaign, which I had good people working for it. In fact, my pollster's the same guy that does Sandoval's, Heller's, and others nationally. They said, if you respond to these ads, you're going to lose. You're winning right now. The ads are not affecting you. You're not dropping in the polls. And if you respond to them, you're going to lose. And I had to make the decision to go with my gut or go with these campaign people. And I went with the campaign people. So the first thing I'm going to do differently in this election is I'm going to go with my gut. And I'm going to do what I feel is best. I'm here. My family's here. The people that were giving me that advice to respond are here. And that's what I'm going to go with, and that's going to make a big difference. What I would like to do is, I know that going through different tough primaries, going through the type of character assassinations I've had, there are some people that they hear these ads and they believe them, or they think it might be true. None of them are true, and I can address each one of them. But I would like to ask you guys here today, and please don't be bashful, you're not going to hurt my feelings. I'd rather address any concerns that you have from things that you heard on TV. And I can tell you exactly how bad these ads are, how deceitful and dishonest these ads are, and putting them to bed. And if you have neighbors, friends, or colleagues, or anybody else, and you want to, and they bring them up, then you can respond to them. Well, if anybody has a question from these ads, against, there was about $8.5 million spent last election, please raise your hand, and I'd like to address them if I could. I know you guys all bash, we don't want to do it, but what's that? No, I know those questions. I just think the most important thing in my race is being to put to bed these things that are being said, because they're not true. And I know that a lot of you understand that, and most of the people that believe them are ones that don't follow politics, but it's always better to have the people that support you fully informed and understand what's going on. In fact, the first ad that they used against me, this is what happened, and this is what's wrong with the political system. The first ad they ran against me, they said I was involved in telemarketing fraud and took money from senior citizens. You know how that got started? 2002, I moved back to Las Vegas after coaching basketball with my father, and I got approached by some people to run against Senator Reid. At the time, nobody had wanted to challenge him in 2004, so they asked me to go back to Washington, D.C. When I came back home, right after the visit, the very next day, I got a call from one of Harry Reid's best friends. He asked to meet with me, and he told me, he said, Daddy, why would you go back and look at running against Senator Reid? He's so mad, his sons are so mad, they're going to destroy you. They say that they got stuff that are going to show that you involved in telemarketing fraud, and they're going to destroy you. And I'm thinking to myself, what are you talking about? There's no truth to that. No one's going to believe that. And then what they run is, as an attorney, in 1994, I had to prepare corporate documents. I left in 1995 to coach basketball with my father in Fresno, and in 1998, these guys who I formed that corporation for, they went and committed telemarketing fraud. Now, can you imagine that? Because I created the corporate document 3 years before, and I was out of state when the acts happened. I was in these political ads they ran. They said Danny Tarkanian, Jackie Rosen ran the ads. Danny Tarkanian set up fraudulent companies to defraud senior citizens out of millions of dollars. Can you believe that? But people buy it, and they believe it. So anyways, I sued the guy who said that about me in 2004. I won the first defamation lawsuit in the state's history by a politician in 2009. Thinking we put to bed that ad, those attacks, and Jackie Rosen had the nerve to run him again last election. So I sued her. Nobody else would do it because it costs a ton of money and it's quite painful. But I sued her. She filed a motion to dismiss. The judge threw it out and said her ads were substantially identical to what I'd already won a defamation lawsuit on. Her statements weren't true, and I had a likelihood of success on the merits. So now we have those two. Now, you know, Susie Lee is now making those same allegations again in this election. So this is what you face as a candidate. I don't want to spend a lot of time going through this, but when you ladies are out here and you're helping candidates win, and you hear people say things, you've got to know they're not true. If any of these things were true, why would somebody run for office? They would either be in jail or they'd be hiding in their closet hoping nobody would find them. None of this is true, which goes back to my dad. My dad was, for you that know my dad, he was a basketball coach at UNLV, and most people didn't think he knew much besides basketball. He liked it that way. He was a little bit like Columbo. Did you guys watch Columbo when you grew up? Yeah. He'd act like he didn't know anything, but he was so sharp. So when I told him, I said, I wanted to run for public service, he said, why would you want to do that? The people that are the most expensive are the ones that lie the best and have the most money lie the most often. And I laughed at him thinking that was so funny, but it's not, it's true, and this is what happened. Last time I was here, we had a candidates forum. Two of my opponents in the candidates forum said they wouldn't vote for me because of those ads. One of them said, go Google it, you'll see it. You know, who believes Google? Anybody could write something like Google. But this is that person's votes, every bit is counted as your votes. And that's what we run up against. So look, this is what we're going to do. We know what we're going to do differently. When they run these ads, excuse me, we're going to have a commercial to show they're dishonest and they're not true. And we're going to show they're not true. Now the problem is you can't run the same amount of ads as they run on these, or then we lose the focus of the race, which is why we're going to win. And we're going to win because of the incredible job President Trump's America First policies are doing for our country, and we want to get back to the country. So anyways, that's what we're going to do differently. Those are the things I can control. I look forward to winning this seat, and I want to finish before I talk. Well, there's a couple of things. I want to say, going into the general election, what has been very, very, very encouraging, enthusiastic, and I'm grateful for is the support I've gotten from the other candidates in other races. Melissa and I talked earlier today about working together and helping to do things to get us both elected. Byron Brooks, who lost his state Senate seat, he called me up and asked me, what can I do to help you? And he's here today, and he's going to try to help me every way he can. And Victoria Seaman, who stepped out of the race when I got in, has done more for me than anybody in this whole campaign. And that's what it takes if you want to be successful as a team. And this is a team sport, because you only get one vote. I mean, the people who win are the ones that get the most votes. This is a team effort. You need everybody in your corner. You need people supporting them. When I lost my only primary, I supported the winner of that. I went on a campaign for her, and it's nice to see so many people doing the same now for me in this election. This seat is the most important congressional seat in the entire country. And I'm not saying that because I'm running this race, although I probably would. I say that because last election, they spent the most money in this race. This election, the New York Times has already written that the Democrats cannot take control of Congress if they don't maintain CD3 in Nevada.
Right.
They know if they lose this seat, they can't win back the state, the majority in Congress. So they have put a ton of money in this race. The only thing my opponent's going to have differently this election than the last is she's going to have a lot of money. But we're doing a good job. We're getting ours, and we'll be okay. It's a very, very important race. President Trump asked me personally to run this race because he knows how important it is. But you know what that means is the people here in this room have such a great impact in the direction our country is going to be. Isn't that a great thrill? I would think, here at CD3 in Nevada, we're going to be able to determine which party controls Congress. Very well may determine which party controls the Senate also. And we can do it here. We just got to get together, work together as a team, make sure we run the best campaign possible across the board. As was mentioned earlier, Adam Laxon and myself were sharing offices. I actually am using his general consultant, who I think is fabulous. He's been so much better than what we've had in years past. We're working together as candidates, we're becoming stronger and better, but we need the people here on the ground to help us the most. And that's why when I was asked if I wanted to speak here, I said I want to speak at the first meeting possible, because this group here, in my opinion, is the most important group for me if I'm going to be successful. Last election, I charted each precinct where I overperformed Trump and Heck and underperformed Trump and Heck. Here in Anthem, I underperformed them, and I believe I didn't run the numbers completely, but if I would have just done as well as them, I would have won that seat. So I need to do better out here, and I'm counting on you guys in this room to help us get over the top. It's too important for our country, it's too important for our state, it's too important for this community to allow Susie Lee, who ran in CD4 last election, was thinking about running 2 previous elections in other districts, to come in here and be your representative, and she's going to do everything Nancy Pelosi says. Now, me on the other hand, I'm a big believer in the America First policies, and that's the way I'm going to vote for it. I think it's been way overdue that we have not had a stronger voice to support the people here in our country first and foremost. When President Trump came up with that name, it just resonated with me, and I think it resonates with most Americans. Even ones that don't like President Trump, I don't think they can argue against the policies he's trying to implement. And that's what I'm going to do when I go back to Washington, D.C. That being said, I can take any questions now that you have and go from there. Thank you again for having me here today.
Okay. Yeah, put him on the hot seat. Ready? Okay, when you win, which committees would you like to serve on?
Okay, there's a couple of them that I think that are very, very important. The Finance Committee, for one, because I've been involved in real estate and I understand the banking situation. I understand what the Dodd-Frank bill did to the liquidity issues here in our country. What happened with the Dodd-Frank bill, for you that don't know, the Dodd-Frank bill was passed after the recession, and it basically says, okay, we're going to make all the banks follow all these regulations, have all these cash reserves. We're going to make, remember, the recession was caused because the banks were too big to fail, right? So only Congress could pass something that runs out makes the smaller banks leave the banking industry and leave fewer banks that are now more bigger, that are now more difficult and if they fail. Only they would do that. The Dodd-Frank bill passed these regulations and requirements that ran out to community banks. You don't see as many community banks out here anymore. The people here in Southern Nevada are having to rely upon the national credit people to get loans, and like myself, ones that have not been around that long, it's hard to do so. Second, the Veterans Committee, which is so important to get the veterans the services they need to deserve and we owe as a country. So those would be my 2.
Okay, so also when you win, do you have any ideas on what you would do to protect Social Security and veterans and eliminate the Department of Education?
Okay.
And we want you to keep taxes low.
Yeah. Keeping taxes low and eliminating burdensome and onerous regulations will stimulate the economy and create greater tax revenue because of that, as you see with President Trump's actions so far. I don't know if you've heard or not, but the estimate for this quarter's GDP is going to be over 5%. 5%. Now, if you remember correctly, President Trump was in office 8 years and it averaged 1.6%, and when President Obama. And when candidate Trump said, hey, we need to get to 3% growth, maybe even 4% if we do a good job, they laughed at him. Well, now we're going to have possibly a quarter of 5%. So that's the first thing. We're going to create more revenue even if you do cut taxes. Let's go backwards. Department of Education. Education has most good, loving families that want to give the best education to the children, understand the best decisions are going to be made by the people closest to the children and should be left for those jurisdictions. It's foolish to think, though, you're going to eliminate the entire Department of Education. What I would like to see, and I think this is a big difference between me and Susie Lee. Susie Lee claims she spent 20 years in the education field here in Nevada, almost all with the public education system, and we have one of the worst public education systems in the entire country after 20 years. The answer would be is we take the money that now remember, last legislative session, there were 2 legislative sessions that passed early education savings account, which was going to take the money that the state gave to the school system and give it to the parents to decide how they want to educate their kids. Isn't that a novice idea? You give the parents a choice how they should educate their kids. Then what was going to happen was the federal government the money they gave was going to stay in the public school system. I would like to see that reversed because we can't get it done here in Nevada. Let the money coming from the state stay in the public school system, but the federal government give the money in block grants to the states and allow the parents in each state to determine how they want to spend their per pupil allocation. I think that would make a big difference for that. And then you had, so how are you going to make Social Security and all them solvents? That's the toughest question. I'm going to just make a couple points that I think are very important. People paid into Social Security and Medicare their entire life while they're working. It is not right to take that from them, and I will protect that. I do believe, though, we need to raise the minimum eligibility age from where we're at now, because when it was passed in 1939, I believe, it was the average age of your lifespan was 59 years. Now it's 79 years. 78 for men, 79 for women. You guys get us the next year. So anyway, we should raise that a little bit. That would help it for a short period.
Yeah. Who would you support to replace Paul Ryan as the head?
Hey, that's a good question. I don't know who's going to be running. At this point, they're talking about McCarthy. I personally like McCarthy. He's been very supportive of me in the past. I know he's reaching out very strongly to the conservative base of the Republican Party because he's worried that they may not support him. I'm also very close with Jim Jordan, who's also thinking of running. I've been a supporter of what the Freedom Caucus has tried to do. I'll tell you the guy I like the most just as a person and who's been really great too is Steve Scalise. No one's been better than Steve Scalise, and those are the 3 that are running, so those are 3 good choices.
With the growth in the Las Vegas area, especially Henderson, and the influx of business, how are previously crafted plans for our government, and I know can you address this on the federal level, being affected? Can the infrastructure handle it?
Well, on the federal level, part of the infrastructure is improving our roads, highways, bridges, and so forth. And I'm a big believer in that. That's part of what the federal government was created for. And it's only the federal government that can maintain, build, and improve upon that type of infrastructure. Hoover Dam was not going to be built with state dollars. And obviously, we all understand how important that is to so many states here. We as a country have neglected our infrastructure and our roads and highways. And I would, as fiscally conservative as I am, I would vote for a bill to get more funding to improve upon that. Remember when Dwight D. Eisenhower first passed the highway bills and made us, made the United States the best highway system in the world. We became the economic force in the world because of that. And we need to get back to improving those.
What are your feelings about police departments? Will you support them and support ICE?
Oh, yeah, that's an absolute given. You know,
You better know how to answer that.
We live in a society, but you just digress for a second. Could you imagine a question is being asked, do we support our police officers? Do you believe that? I mean, look, there are some bad people in every profession, and those people should be weeded out and removed and penalized for what they've done. But golly, those people are what make this community safe. And this is a big thing that's I've been going on with Susie Lee right now. The Democrat Party as a whole is taking the position we need to eliminate ICE because they say, I don't even know why they're saying it, it's because they actually want to keep illegal immigrants from coming out of the country and remove the ones that are. So we'll come out very strongly. In fact, today we just sent out a press release asking Susie Lee to refund the money that she received from the New York senator who came out and asked to have ICE abolished. And we'll see what her response will be.
When you met with President Trump, did you learn anything significant that would help with your campaign?
He doesn't stay on topic too long. I was asked this today. I was meeting with somebody today. They said, have you ever met President Trump? I said, yeah. And they go, what do you think of him? I said, boy, he talks to you for a second, and by the time you respond, he's on the next subject. I had two brief conversations with Donald Trump. The first time was when he was running for office 9 days out from the election. I hope this isn't, I can go and explain a couple. These are pretty funny stories. I hope you like them anyway. So anyway, 9 days out from the election, as I mentioned, I'm the only federal candidate that supported candidate Trump here in Southern Nevada, and he was speaking at the Venetian for a rally. In fact, I was the only candidate that spoke at that rally. Nobody else would show up. But he came to our church right before that for services, and I grew up in the Catholic church, right? You don't talk there. I mean, it's very hush-hush. And my wife, she's Christian, and it's a Christian church, so candidate Trump comes in, and my wife is sitting right behind him, and they're laughing and fist bumping and having the best time of their life. But I'm thinking, gosh, this is a little weird. But so I got the courage up. I said, heck, maybe I should go say something to him. So I went over to him, and I didn't think he had any chance at that point. If you remember, that was when they were killing him on those things. So I just said to him, I said, I admire you. I said, I've been hit hard with these type of personal attacks, and I know it bothers me. No one's been hit harder than you. You're absolutely amazing, and you keep going. And he said, we both had great parents. They raised us the right way, and he thanked me for supporting them. And then the second time, I had an opportunity to meet him at the tarmac, and when he came into town, and that was just a brief conversation. I was trying to get him to come out and do a fundraiser for me, so we'll see how effective my communication skills were.
Talk about the immigration issue. What would be your plan to do something about it?
And when I say this, I would love to have any Democrat say this and the right plan, the right reasons, okay? We need to secure a border. Now, it's whether you build a wall or the technology you have to. Now, what's interesting about that is, we just sent it out in our campaign, you find the footage of both Barack Obama and Bill Clinton, both adamantly opposing illegal immigration, saying we have to stop it, we got to protect our borders, and they were all in favor of it. You see Nancy Pelosi and Schumer were all in favor of building a wall before President Trump came into office. So that's it. They believe that. Second thing is, there's no reason we should have chain migration that's extending past immediate family and being able to bring in people and I'd love to hear the Democrats explain why that should be necessary. Thirdly, the lottery system is completely, what you're taking anybody who's lucky enough to get a nod as opposed to whether they need to be here or whether they're beneficial to our country. And so we should eliminate the lottery system. But let me tell you one area that I disagree with that from some Republicans. They're saying we should only allow people to come in that are a benefit to our country, and you can determine that at the time they make that application. And it makes sense, right? You don't want to bring people in that aren't a benefit to the country. But for all of us, and probably many of you in the room, that understand how our relatives came here, mine escaped the Armenian genocide. She was young, she was poor, she couldn't speak English, she had very little money, and she came here to the United States, and she was a great asset to this country. She worked her tail off. She provided for my father to go to college, and he worked his tail off, became the greatest coach in college basketball history. Why would that be a bad thing? Now, if you asked people before she came in whether she was going to be a benefit or not, most people would say no. So I believe you need to take refugees in that are escaping life-threatening situations after they're fully vetted, and we make sure that they're not. I see you shaking your head, and you can say that. I believe that with all my heart, that people that want to come to our country, even if they're not fully educated yet or have a lot of assets, they come here because they love it, they work hard, they make this a better country, and I'd be in favor of that. Oh, thanks. And one more. The other area is e-verification. And again, this is something that should be a no-brainer. Why wouldn't you say all employers should verify the legal status of an employee before you hire them? Which is, thank you. This is a law that was passed, but it hasn't been implemented. So you do those 5 things. Then you find a solution for the people that are here in the country illegally. A lot of people, President Trump included, has said we should give citizenship to the dreamers. I think we should, at the best, give legal residency. And the reason I say that is, you can't reward people the same who came here the wrong way, and you expect the other people to come here the right way to continue to wait in line. So I think legal residency is a better approach than citizenship.
Yep. I think you addressed this a little bit, how you're going to fight the read machine and the dishonest advertising. You said you hired the best consultant.
I hope he's the best. I will tell you, I watched Adam Laxalt's campaign in 2014. I thought he ran a brilliant campaign. He's got the same consultant. I think they do a great job. I like, our whole focus is how are we going to respond to these ads. Look, in fact, my consultant said this. He said, normally you don't get a candidate that's this realistic and understanding of their issues, okay? Doesn't say it a nice way. I know, and I'm telling you, I understand this. It's not accurate, but it's true. I have been branded falsely by the Democrats who I ran against, some Republicans, but mostly the Democrats. And it's in there, it's in people's minds. And I gotta change that. And that's the focus and the responsibility of this race, and we hope we can do a good job to get that done.
The four left-wing news companies colluded to sway the election. Why haven't they been indicted? I think we all know the answer to that.
I just think that journalism is at a low point and there's no more ethics in it. But I would tell you, and I'm gonna get in trouble on this. Last time I came here, I got in trouble. They ran out some secretly reported me and used it. But I'm gonna say it again because this is true. This shows it isn't what Trump talked about, the fake news, this and that. It didn't just start with him and those things that happened. I would tell you, last election, John Ralston asked me to do something, and I got mad because he had misrepresented something. I said I wouldn't do it. And he said to me, well, wait till you see what comes out next. And he sent something out, and this is what he sent out. He sent out that I said on a radio show I lost my 2012 race because of the blacks. That was the headline in the story. Then his story wasn't as bad as the headline. What I actually said was, I was asked on the radio, why are you going to win in 16 when you didn't win in 12? And I said, well, CD4's 14.5% more Democrats. I lost by 8%. I made up 6.5%. I think that was a pretty good job, especially considering I was running against the majority leader of the state Senate, who's African American, who was trying to become the first African American to be in Congress in Nevada, and he had an African American president, and the district had the highest percentage of African Americans. So they turned out their vote. I made up 6.5%. I thought I did a good job. And he took that to say I lost because of the blacks. And this is what you face when you run for office. It's not right. You got to be careful with what you say. It's why most people don't talk. Jackie Rosen never said a thing last election. I don't know how many of you followed her, but she never took a position on anything. And if you follow Susie Lee, she's not either. She says she wants to secure the borders, but she's against the wall. She says she's in favor of ICE, but doesn't say how. But doesn't want to deport anybody. I try to speak more freely. I believe people want somebody who's honest and sincere and going to tell it like it is. What you're going to get from me in Congress that I think is missing, and people are dying for this, or at least they really want it, is you're going to get somebody who has campaigned on issues that I believe with my heart, that I have true conviction for, and I'm going to go back to Washington, D.C., and I'm going to vote that way. I'm not going to change my vote because some special interest group says otherwise. I'm making promises to people that I campaign for, and that's what you're going to get from me.
So, when you win, what will be the top 3 priorities that you will focus on?
I'm going to be one congressperson out of 435. The first priority's got to be to get on the good committees to make an influence. And then based upon those committees, you try to make the biggest difference possible. I think it's very important that we get a financial system that will loan out money to good quality small business people, younger people that don't have great credit, but that have good plans and the work ethic to get things done. I think that's going to help the economy. In a short summation, we need to keep our economy roaring like it is. I think that's the biggest issue most people have. And President Trump's America First policies, cutting burdens, regulations, and cutting the taxes is a good start. We need to keep our country safe and secure, which is probably the most important thing for the federal government. And again, I believe being tough on North Korea, being tough on Iran, those type of things are real positive, and I'll support that. Those are two big.
Well, it's not a federal issue, it's a very important state issue. Can you talk a little bit about Proposition 3?
You know, that's a great question, because I'm watching what's going on. To me, I've always felt this way. And if you look at it's undisputed that the United States has the greatest economic system ever, right? Anybody dispute that? We've certainly been the greatest economic force ever. We do it because we have the free market principles where we encourage competition. And when you have better competition, you always get a better product at a lower cost. I can't think of a time that hasn't happened, when we got rid of the monopoly on the phone system. Imagine if there was only AT&T and we were trying to all buy cell phones from them, what the cost would be. So why would that be different with the power issue? If you're just trying to create more competition, get a better price. The problem is, and I'm watching all these people come out, every Chamber of Commerce and big business people and others that I would think would have a big stake in this. Many of them are against it. So maybe there's something on this, and I haven't looked into it well enough to give you the most informed answer, but that's mine from what I know.
Our congressmen and senators are rarely on television. Do you know why, and would you be more visible?
Yeah, I would. Yes, I don't know why they're not more on television. I think that one, it really helps when they're trying to get issues passed. Ronald Reagan said when they were in a logjam, the way to get things passed is to take it to the people, explain to them why it's necessary, and get it done. So when you're on TV, you can reach that medium. I think I would have a unique opportunity to get on TV a lot, and I'll tell you why, and it's sort of sad and it's sort of really good. If I lose this race, my political endeavors will then arguably the worst political endeavors in the history of that. I know it's very simple, but if I win, it'll be the greatest political turnaround since Abraham Lincoln. There's nobody that lost like that. And I think that would give me a platform to go out and talk and explain, how I overcame all this stuff, and maybe my opinion would be able to get on some of the national networks.
That's an excellent answer and a great way to wrap this up. Thank you, Danny, for a wonderful speech and for giving us some very good information about your campaign. And I'm sure our ladies and gentlemen will be out there working for you.